With more than 60 easy bed and branch locations throughout the region, you're just a short drive from all the top tracks across the country and around the world. For a complete list of all easy bed and branch locations, visit capitalotb.com. Capital OTB. We're closer than you think.
Coming with giant strides on the far outside. Here comes Honor Code. Here's the wire. Honor Code looked like he got him in the last stride. American Pharaoh has lost the lead at the top of the stretch. Keen Ice has got him. Keen Ice has won the Travers.
Face it. Most horse racing websites are just too much clutter, too much to navigate through. Next time, log on to capitalotb.com. Our newly designed website is easier than ever to use, with all the information the professional horse player needs. capitalotb.com.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America on this Friday morning. I'm Seth Merrow. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show, Andrew Dembski from Tampa Bay Downs. We'll talk a little Tampa action for Friday afternoon. Dave Rodman from Laurel Park, same situation there. We'll talk a little Laurel for Friday. Also, maybe a little preview of the weekend. There's a return of a notable performer there. We'll hit on that with Dave coming up. And Nancy Holthus from Oak Lawn Park, her last Oak Lawn visit of the season. We'll catch up with her, I'm sure, a little bit later on the calendar as she returns to Indiana Grand later on. But as Oak Lawn wraps up their meet, our last Arkansas visit from Nancy talking about their big weekend coming up, closing weekend, highlighted obviously by the Arkansas Derby. And it just, I had pulled up before we went on the air, and I'll toss this out there. Press release came out from Santa Anita. There's a new Showviver contest starting on Friday, today. It will run today, April 14th through July 4th. And it sounds fun. It's the typical Showviver thing where you try to pick a horse every day to finish in the money. But they pay off for the longest show streak, $2,500, the longest win streak, $1,000, the most total wins, that'll pay off $500, the most total places will pay off $500, and I kind of like this one, the largest single win payout, $500. So for folks who want to swing for the fences through that time period of, what are we talking, better part of 2.5 months, I guess, you might get a $500 payoff if you get a price to come in during that time period. So again, these Showviver contests, they've been around, probably 10 years now or so at the various racing venues, but a new one starts up at Santa Anita. I'm sure you can go to the Santa Anita website and get the information to log on and start their Showviver contest, which again kicks off a brand new one today. Some of the other news and notes coming out over the past 24, 48 hours, or maybe even beyond a little bit, but this came out just within the past day. The championship meet handle totals for Gulfstream have been tallied and it easily set a record, and very easily set a record. The total handle at Gulfstream's 87-day championship meet, $867 million, so well over $750 million, but 867 beats the record from last year of 807, so a pretty significant bump up of $60 million. Meet began with an $11 million record handle on the Claiming Crown opening day card. Of course, they had the 40 million plus handle on Pegasus World Cup Day. And as I was reading the article, PJ Campo was quoted in this Daily Racing Form article from Mike Welch, is talking about the meet and how well they did, but reeled off some of the runners that were down at the championship meet. This was pretty good. I had, you think back, and sure enough, but Arrogate, California Chrome, Always Dreaming, Guinevere, and Mind Your Biscuits, some of the horses that showed up at the meet this year, and either had championship credentials from previous years or are likely to wind up with similar types of things this year, or at least be in serious contention as the year goes along. The titles at the championship meet, Todd Pletcher winds up with an unprecedented 14th consecutive Gulfstream Park championship meet training title. Luis Saez, however, unseated Javier Castellano for the riding title. Saez had 102 victories at the meet, and again winds up just kind of edging Castellano and Paco Lopez. So congratulations to Luis Saez, Todd Pletcher on championship meet titles, but certainly congratulations to our friends at Gulfstream for a spectacular meet all the way through, and a handle of $867 million. Of note, and we'll watch over the next, couple of months, certainly, as the numbers come in. But always this time of year, you get the 2-year-old racing off at Keeneland, and that means it's not too far away at some of the other venues as well. And it's fun for me. I'm a guy, I love the 2-year-old races, and I like to look at the breeding because I think you can find some value there. Again, it's something that's not necessarily on the page of the past performances. You have to look up some of these breeding numbers. All this is available. I don't have any magical formula. You can find all this information out there pretty easily and at no cost. You can pay to get better information, let's say, but certainly this information is out there for free if you dig a little bit. So you look up the sires, you look up what the dams have done, and these 2-year-old performers, as they say, can maybe bounce off the page as some value when you have precocious breeding. And so for me, it's interesting this time of year as the 2-year-olds start to come out, and now we're getting these freshman sires, and it'll be worth paying a little bit of attention to see who gets off to maybe a hot start. And Flat Out had his first runner on the track yesterday at Keeneland, and his first winner. Flat Drunk won the opener at Keeneland yesterday at 2-1 for John Hancock. And Brian Edo mentioned John Hancock when we were in here on Sunday. And they're off, talked a little bit about John Hancock, and I think he might have used this horse on the one sheet as well. 2-1, the favorite obviously was a Wesley Ward horse. Wesley Ward had a couple of entrants in there yesterday, wound up 3rd and 5th. A little bit surprising that Wesley Ward doesn't get one of these 2-year-old 4.5 furlong sprints at Keeneland in the back pocket, but again, the betting public was on board this one as the second choice at 2-1. Wesley Ward was the 8-5 favorite and the 2-1 third choice, but Flat Drunk gets it done. Again, the first runner for Flat Out. It'll be interesting to see if this continues a trend, if he'll be worth watching as a sire over the next few months. And then we get into Saratoga, and now it really becomes interesting. Freshman sires this year that we can keep our eyes on, Flat Out, obviously, but Animal Kingdom, Orb, Oxbow in that mix, Shanghai Bobby. So we'll see how they play out. Animal Kingdom has had a stud career in Australia too, so he's already had some winners down under. So it'll be interesting to see as they start to show up here as well what Animal Kingdom can do. But Flat Out off to an interesting start. First runner, first winner yesterday at Keeneland with Flat Drunk. And I will say this, I handicapped Keeneland yesterday, watched this race, and was kind of looking at, again, these kind of races, I'll pay attention to the breeding. They got the name wrong on this one. By Flat Out of a dam called Feline Flatline. So it's flat out of feline flat line. Shouldn't have been flat drunk. It should have been flat cat, right? A couple of flats, and you got a feline in there. It should have been flat cat. But nobody contacted me on the naming. But as I say, we'll keep our eyes on flat out over the next couple of months or so to see if he can continue this trend, and he will be one of those we want to keep our eyes on as far as precocious runners when we get to the Saratoga meet, and some of those two-year-old runners are unleashed. Stakes action yesterday, kicking off really the Festival of the South yesterday with the Bachelor at Oak Lawn. Nice little stakes race for 3-year-olds sprinting. The disappointment is strangely Rockshaw in here, who came off a couple of nice wins at Oak Lawn for Ron Moquette. Had an allowance victory back in the middle of January, then on March 4th won the Gazebo, both pretty nicely, both with competitive buyers. Rockshaw goes off as a 70 cent to $1 favorite yesterday and winds up 7th in the field of 7. So that one was a disappointment. The second choice, however, was Recruiting Ready, Maryland-based horse that finished second under the line in the Saratoga Special last year, but was subsequently disqualified to 4th in a roughly run stretch. Gunnevera won that race, if you remember, the Saratoga Special last summer. Recruiting Ready was coming off an optional claim or allowance win at Laurel, shipped down to Oak Lawn for the Bachelor, and got it done pretty easily as the 2-1 second choice. First stakes win for the trainer Horatio DePaz. The horse is owned by Sagamore, again, a Maryland-based outfit. So they said they're kind of looking for Pimlico, and Preakness week maybe we'll see this one show up in one of the stakes there. But Recruiting Ready in that subcategory of 3-year-old sprinters, one to keep an eye on as we move forward. Also on stakes action yesterday, this was, if you looked at any handicapping service or person or tweet that was sent out yesterday regarding the Appalachian at Keeneland. It was a Grade 3 event, and the consensus was this was much better than a standard Grade 3. Again, I handicapped Keeneland for the OTB website yesterday, and I put La Coronel on top, and she looked tremendous in the second start of 2017. Disappointment last year in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly, running 6th in there at 4-1. And after yesterday's race, trainer Mark Cassie said this horse had a double knee surgery, I guess minor surgery on both of the knees last year after the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly Turf. Again, came back at Tampa middle of March, just missed there as the 4-5 favorite, but in the second start of the year, she looked great. She, about mid-stretch, she kind of blasted away from the bunch, won by a chart margin of over 3 lengths, paying just over $9. The favorite was New Money Honey for Chad Brown. That one disappoints, running 6th in the field of 11, but it was kind of a loaded field with New Money Honey and La Coronel. Bellavase from Jimmy Toner was interesting, a little bit of a price. That one a little bit disappointing, finishing 5th. But again, a nice win by La Coronel for Mark Cassie, and in that subdivision of 3-year-old fillies on the turf, she will be intriguing to watch moving forward. Some stakes action to mention today. The Makers Mark Mile down at Keeneland, $300,000 a mile on the grass. I handicapped it for the website, and I must say it's a little bit of a skull buster. I used black type on top, just on the string of triple digits from the summer to the end of last season, but this is the comeback, the seasonal debut. Underneath, I used Heart to Heart, just again, triple digits all over that. Horse's past performances as well. Finished second in this race last year to Miss Temple City. And the game plan for this one is go to the front and try to take it all the way, but we'll have to contend with What a View, who I also had in my mix, as well as Bolo shipping in from Southern California. But you can go in a bunch of different directions in that Maker's Mile at Keeneland. We'll talk Arkansas Derby in a few minutes with Nancy Holthus. I just wanted to mention, obviously, with a 100-point race, a bunch of horses can move up into contention, but the horses that are really looking for points tomorrow, I wanted to mention, third place gets you 20 points, and that's enough to help Classic Empire, who's actually on the outside looking in right now, but just on the outside. As far as the Derby points list, Classic Empire is sitting 21 with 32 points. So again, he finishes third and gets 20. He's easily in. Conquest Mo Money has 20. Another 20 puts him in. And Sonneteer with 20. Again, 20 would make the difference. So those three, Classic Empire, Conquest Mo Money, and Sonneteer, a third place finish helps them out. Second place probably needed for Petrov. And looking at Lee, 40 points is more in the area what they'll need because they're in the teens right now. So there's an idea of some horses that need some points tomorrow in the Arkansas Derby. And just wanted to take a look also at some Keeneland Stakes coming up tomorrow. Nice stakes card tomorrow for them. The Bet Ali is on that schedule for tomorrow. Grade 3 event, couple $100,000. 4-year-olds up going a mile and an eighth. Eagle is in here for Neil Howard. Comes in from Fairgrounds. And you heard Jeremy Plonk talk earlier this week. He thought the Fairgrounds runners were doing well early in the Keeneland meet. Eagle comes in off a couple of stakes tries down at the Fairgrounds, but more importantly, 3 for 3 at Keeneland. Watershed comes in for Kieran, does have a 1-for-1 record at Keeneland, comes in off the turf most recently at Gulfstream. Conquest Enforcer, maybe a little bit interesting coming in from Southern California. Scuba off the past few races is intriguing, but I did want to pull up and let folks take a look at the Fred Hooper March 4th down at Gulfstream Park. The number 4 is Birdsong. Julian Lepereau on board that day. Brian Hernandez will be on board tomorrow. But it's a Mary Lou Whitney horse. And this was, a little stake down at Gulfstream. Grade 3 event, the Hooper. And again, Birdsong is the number 4. Wins and pays a little over $8 in the Hooper, which I think sets the horse up nicely for this. This is a triple-digit buyer win, a 101 figure. And I'm just looking, that's the lifetime best for this horse. So maybe in some career form right now. Nice bullet workout at Keeneland since then. Just a few days ago, about a week ago, at Keeneland for Ian Wilkes, the trainer. So again, we'll root for our local friend, Mary Lou Whitney. You can see her nice silks there. The Eaton blue with the brown cap, getting it done in the Hooper. Again, in a field where I think you can make cases for a few of them on kind of the second string handicap division. And anytime you have horses like this, they start to string them together, and then you have to start talking, well, maybe they can move up into the upper echelon. But I think it's one of those fields where you can make some cases for these horses maybe making noise in that division going forward a little bit if they can string some good performances together. We'll see tomorrow what happens in the Ben Ali. Also on the schedule tomorrow, the Lexington for 3-year-olds. It's a 10-point race as far as the Derby is concerned, but there aren't really any Derby players in here. The Lexington, while we talk, I'm going to pull up, again, a Fairgrounds runner that could be a little bit interesting. Steve Asmussen, we're going to take a look at Resiliency, winning an allowance optional claimer for Steve Asmussen. Resiliency will be the number 1 horse here. Winds up winning by just over a length at 7-2. That was, again, back on March 5th. I find that one intriguing off of that effort. And again, on the coming in from Fairgrounds effort, Senior Investment comes in from the Louisiana Derby. So another one coming in from Fairgrounds. And the Louisiana Derby wasn't much, but the 2-3 starts before that were pretty good. No Dozing off a string of stakes races. West Coast comes in lightly raced for Bob Baffert. So fun edition of the Lexington. And just quickly, I'll also mention on the card tomorrow at Keeneland, we have the Giants Causeway. I want to mention that because it is the return of Lady Aurelia, who the Wesley Ward runner that won at this meet last year, going 4.5 furlongs on the dirt, then went over to Europe and tried the turf. And she won at Royal, not at Royal Ascot, she won at Deauville. She won at Royal Ascot too, but most recently was at Deauville, and then a 3rd place finish at Newmarket in September. But again, did go from this Keeneland meet to a win at Royal Ascot and the Queen Mary. So had a couple of nice wins over in Europe in the late spring, early summer. Hasn't been seen since that Newmarket start, but comes back for Wesley Ward tomorrow in the Giants Causeway, Lady Aurelia, and certainly we want to mention, speaking of comebacks, in the Jenny Wiley tomorrow, which, boy, this is a great race. Jenny Wiley tomorrow, Grade 1, and deservedly so. Lady Eli comes back for Chad Brown off the that much of a loss in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf. Catch a glimpses in here for Mark Cassie, Time and Motion for Jimmy Toner. So again, the highlight on the Keeneland card tomorrow, the Jenny Wiley, really a bang-up edition. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Andrew Dembski from Tampa Bay Downs. A little bit later, Dave Rodman from Laurel and Nancy Holthus from Oak Lawn Park. She'll talk some Arkansas Derby and more. All of that right after this. Stay tuned.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, and amazing Vegas-style atmosphere. The Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Plan right now is to run Always Dreaming only.
Just hours before Always Dreaming won the Florida Derby,
Always Dreaming, set down for the drive by John Velasquez.
Seth Merrow talked with Johnny V and Todd Pletcher about this impressive horse.
You don't know how it's going to react with the tougher competition now.
But if Always Dreaming, if all's good on race day, he goes.
The 2017 Florida Derby to Todd Pletcher and Always Dreaming.
All the top trainers, all the top jockeys. No one delivers more insight and more information on all the big races than Capital OTB and OTB TV.
No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. CapitalOTB.com offers live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, and a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform. And best of all, you get track prices. Going on now, it's Bet 50, Get 50. Simply open a Capital Bets account, bet $50, and get $50 cash back. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
Hey, we've got a new show.
We do.
Absolutely, and they're off right here on the OTB TV network Sunday morning.
What's it all about?
It'll be a lot of fun. Fast-paced, plenty of topics, guests, handicapping, commentary, and maybe some opinions.
I have opinions on my opinions.
And we will have plenty of them because you're on the show. And they're off Sunday mornings here on the OTB TV network, 10 a.m. each Sunday. Should be a lot of fun. Anthony Mormino, Seth Merrow. We'll see you there.
I'm sorry, I went...
With more than 60 Easy Bet and branch locations throughout the region, you're just a short drive from all the top tracks across the country and around the world. For a complete list of all Easy Bet and branch locations, visit CapitalOTB.com. Capital OTB. We're closer than you think.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Welcome back to Racing Across America on this Friday morning. That means a visit from Andrew Dembski at Tampa Bay Downs. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Seth. How are you today?
Very good. Happy to have you on board, as always, to talk a little Tampa for this afternoon. Before we do that, I wanted to go back to Wednesday, though, because the press release came out. And for triple players, there was a possibility to knock it out of the park on Wednesday. It was the record triple of the meet. 77 to 1 shot wins, 9 to 1 second, 32 to 1 runs third in here, and I have a little shot of the chart for people who want to see what those odds look like on the board. And look at that triple payoff for $1. People walked away with $6,700. Pretty good day if you wound up with that one.
Yeah, pretty incredible when the 77 to 1 shot it goes gate to wire. And I tell you what, the horse that kind of keyed at Melora on top. I actually loved her last time. I singled her last time on my tickets, and she ran second.
It's always that way.
Yeah, I singled her. She ran second. Then she moves way up in class. I said, well, she can't win here. So like most people, I threw her out, and sure enough, comes back and goes gate to wire. So horse that I did like, just in the wrong start.
We have all been
pretty
there.
Incredible.
Yeah, Melora gets it done at 77 to 1, $157, and again, folks could see the payoffs there. Very notable. Also, the press release mentioned, and I wonder if you had any update. Fernando de la Cruz winds up taking off the end of the day due to a shoulder that he'd injured maybe a day or two earlier, something like that. Any update on de la Cruz?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not sure if he'll be back riding today. I'm hoping Pablo will be back. I have no updates on either one. Pablo Morales actually got hurt 2 days before Fernando, and Fernando wins 3, and unfortunately his shoulder started acting up. So I don't really have an update, but I will be sending out some tweets once I hear from the jockeys room today.
And there was the press release that mentioned Pablo, as you said, and again, he got hurt also, so it's good news if he comes back. But that press release talked about the battle for the jockeys title with Dan Centino on board. But as the press release says, a comfortable but not insurmountable advantage. So it looks like it could be a fun race to the wire between Centino and Edwin Gonzalez.
Yeah, absolutely. And Edwin's definitely got some live mounts today. I do have, it's actually the race we're going to look at. I have Danny Centeno's mounts picked to win 2 of them, and Edwin picked to win another one. So it will be interesting coming down to the wire. And I actually just got word that Pablo Morales is riding today.
Okay,
so, good thing to see him back in the saddle as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, the jockeys race certainly interesting between Danny and Edwin as the meet is getting closer and closer to wrapping up here.
Yeah, that's always fun as you get down to the end of meets when some of these titles are up for grabs to see what happens and who takes what mounts and whatnot. So that should be an interesting sidebar. All right, let's take a look at this afternoon. First, what's your weather look like?
Oh, it's perfect out there today, Seth. I'd say mid-80s, likely going to be fast and firm, and really nice little card. Some really good betting races today, some competitive fields, and some wide-open races. So really looking forward to diving into this.
That's what we like. Fifth race today is a plain vanilla claimer, 10,000 tags, scheduled on the grass at 1 mile and a 16th. What did you see in the fifth?
Well, the fifth race is interesting because you can either single the 8-horse fan base, who has been running against some really nice horses for 16 and giving a good account of himself. He's 8 years old, but he likes to get his picture taken. And last time he ran a pretty big race to my eyes. Finished fourth, was only beaten a length and a half at big odds, looked overmatched to me, and ran much better than I anticipated. So Danny Centeno gets the call today, and fan base could be a single. The interesting horse to me is the 7, Round Up the Loot, off the claim for Tim Padilla, who unfortunately is having a really tough meet this year. But a better trainer than his record shows. Hugo Sanchez gets the call off the claim. Round Up the Loop, although this horse is trying turf today, really has been in tough all season long in these optional claiming races, running against nice horses like Noble Thor, who won 2 straight. Divine Ambition has a couple of wins to the meet. Pacific Image 2-back has won 5 straight. He's only 4 lengths behind that one running third. So they dropped the horse for 5 last time. A bunch of people dropped the slip for him, winds up in the barn of Tim Padilla. But an interesting player who's going to be overlooked due to the trainer's record and the connections behind it. That 6-1 morning line will probably be huge in the multis if you can get that horse home.
All right, let's move on to race number 6. Optional claimer, 32 tags, non-winners of 2 other than 3/4 of a mile. What did you see in the 6th?
Oh, well, I do love this boy Sharp. I don't know where he's been, but he's making the 5-year-old debut today. And I think he draws a little better than the likely favorite Carolina Speed. This boy Sharp has run some really big races here from the Bennett barn in the past and has always been in really deep and has beat some good fields. So interesting to see if Jerry Bennett has this horse fit ready to go today. Hasn't been seen since October. Workout pattern's great, though, and Jerry can bring these horses back ready to fire. Now, Carolina Speed, the one horse, has won 2 straight, has beaten some nice fields, fired a bullet in preparation for this. But the rail post is never the easiest spot to win from. So between this boy Sharp and Carolina Speed, you might be able to get by with those 2. I think the Vic Carrasco horse off the claim, the 6 Backlight, is a horse that if you can afford to throw it on your tickets, might be worth a shot throwing in there on the turnback. I think this horse wants to sprint. I don't think this horse wants to go long and has been routing Backlight 5 for 10 at the 6 furlong distance. So I do like the fact that Vic Carrasco, although up in class, is turning this horse back to a sprint and should be a big price. So if Carolina Speed, like I think, is vulnerable from the inside, and if this boy Sharp is not ready to go off the layoff, you're going to get a big price on Backlight, so that one's going to make my tickets today.
I like it. All right, the 7th race, nice little maiden special weight event. They're going to go 6 furlongs, field of 9 in here. What do you have, 1, 2, 3 first-time starters? The rest of them mostly lightly raced. What did you see in the 7th?
Yeah, it's a great race. It's either going to be a spread race or kind of a take a stand race. I'm going to try to get by with 3 in here. I'm going to use the experienced horses, the 8-horse, which I believe is 16 Parkside Lane. I just don't think they'll fit it. I think it's 16 Parkside Lane, the horse's name, but has run well enough for Jerry Bennett. The 6-horse Road Guard Post was touted like a good thing. Got that to 3-1 on debut. 69 buyer, just got a little tired in the stretch, but sharp enough debut from Tony Morgada's barn. And the 4-horse, who I don't know what to make of, Exclusive Package, that 75 Fire last time, shipping up from Gulfstream, that would probably win this race. But the horse has never done anything near that in the past. So maybe a bounce candidate, maybe a horse you might want to take a stand against, as I do think that horse will be favored, but maybe a vulnerable favorite.
Yeah, again, this looks like an interesting race. It's the kind I like to jump into, and I'll certainly take a little look at that later this afternoon. Andrew, as always, appreciate the visit, the thoughts on Tampa for this afternoon. Good luck today, and we'll talk again next week.
All right, sounds good, Seth. You take care.
Thanks a lot. Andrew Dembski from Tampa Bay Downs. That'll bring us to our next break. When we come back, Dave Rodman from Laurel Park will get some ideas on racing in Maryland for this Friday afternoon. Coming up in a few, Nancy Holthus from Oak Lawn Park. We'll talk fantasy and apple blossom today, Arkansas Derby, and more on that nice card they have down at Oak Lawn tomorrow. All of that right after this.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
One we'll never forget. Looked impossible, but it is Zenyatta, still unbeaten under Mike Smith.
Not at the track and not near a computer? No problem. Wager with Capital OTB's touch-tone wagering system and you'll never get shut out again. Capital OTB's touch-tone wagering system is quick, simple to use, and guarantees your wagers are accurate and placed on time. For more information, visit CapitalOTB.com or call Capital OTB's customer service hotline at 800-292-BETS. Capital OTB's touch-tone wagering system. Never get shut out again.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad. Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Face it, most horse racing websites are just too much clutter, too much to navigate through. Next time, log on to CapitalOTB.com. Our newly designed website is easier than ever to use, with all the information the professional horse player needs. CapitalOTB.com.
Welcome back to Racing Across America on this Friday morning. That means a visit from Dave Rodman at Laurel Park. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Seth.
Happy to have you on board. We'll talk a little Laurel for today, and also there's an interesting event, an interesting return coming up on Sunday. We'll hit on that in a second, but you and I were talking during the break. You had some opinions on the Arkansas Derby, and it's interesting as we were talking, I think your opinion probably signifies that you're in the same boat as all of us in that this 3-year-old season just is, at this point, kind of ill-defined because, of course, we had the maiden win in Kentucky last week, and you're looking for maybe a maiden tomorrow in the Arkansas Derby.
Yeah, ill-defined. My top of my ill-defined list was One-Liner, but he's not running. He's, he's taken out of training. So,
yeah, I'm with you. I was going to be really interested to see what he could do.
And I say, and underneath him, I had Hentz, the Sunland Derby winner. So, I'm still interested in him in the long term for the next couple of weeks, the long term till the Derby. I really like the way Sonneteer ran at 112-1 last time out in the Rebel. I don't know. Go back and look at that race again. I thought it was very strong effort, and shuffled back, and he rallied up the rail. Nothing seemed to bother him, coming through on the inside, and galloped out strongly, too. I mean, in this kind of year, it seems to be as good as anything. Is it possible we could have a couple of maidens win prep races?
Yeah.
Back-to-back weekends.
We had IRAP last week, and, Irish War Cry, I think, from your neck of the woods, kind of revalidated himself, and now he's strung a couple of triple-digit buyers together. And in this crop, that may be enough to kind of tilt in his direction.
Yeah, we were very happy to see him rebound for Graham Motion. I mean, that was just a real puzzler in Florida for Irish War Cry, but never lost confidence in him. And he seems to be back on the beam, so to speak, and let's hope he can put together another good race. Did some changes on him, and he seems to relax quite well. And good for Rajiv Mirage as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Rajiv is riding really well the past month and a half or so. All right, let's jump in for this afternoon down at Laurel. Before we do that, what's your weather look like?
Real nice day. Almost San Diego-like, except without as much sunshine. Cloudy and in the 60s today.
Very good. All right, let's kick things off in the third. Maiden special event. They're going to go the one-turn mile. What did you think in race number 3?
Okay, well, it's a one-turn mile, but we've got a horse coming first time in the Mary Epler's barn, has never been on the dirt, and raced once in New York at Aqueduct back November last year as the 3-year-old, and then went to Florida and tried the grass several times down there to no avail. Even with the blinkers last time out, showed a little bit of improvement racing closer to the pace, but blinkers come back off. They start all over in the Epler's barn. They've been training at Palm Meadows on the turf. Mo Light in the third race today. Mo Light, daughter of Uncle Mo, first time for Mary Epler, comes out of that race in Florida with the blinkers, where the runner-up came back to run, her best number, One-Eyed Palace, was a 79, maiden special weight on the dirt. There's really nothing in here that can run close to the upper 60s or 70s, except perhaps maybe the 7-5 favorite Larry Jones runner, Heaven's Creation, with Trevor McCarthy. So liking Mo Light in here, given some company lines behind a filly that has at least run okay on the dirt in the past, and we like that first-time Mary Epler angle. Always take a look at those runners.
All right, let's move on to race number 5 this afternoon, the 5th race. Optional claimer, 50 tags, non-winners are one other than, again, in race 5, the one-turn mile.
It's been an interesting series of races for No More Talk. Number 2 is going to be our pick in here. Coming back to the mile after the 2-turn private term stakes, in which he finished 7th behind Twisted Tom. Didn't really fire that day at 17-1, but in a kinder spot, I think, this afternoon. His debut race here at Laurel was on the slot back January 2nd, racing on a dead rail without Lasix, and faltered after showing a bit of early lick and finished 7th in there. Adding the blinkers, put it all together with a narrow win over Twin Valor in maiden special weight company. And I thought, going back to look at the Miracle Wood last night, he ran a very strong race. He was not on the best part of the track, post 2, early in the game. Was taken to the outside by Alex Cintron, had every right to kick on, narrowly missed second in that race behind O Dionysus, and probably would have been second. But he kind of went to his left lead a little bit late in the game. I'm thinking he's just a colt who's improving, a little bit of more maturity, and maybe they can get it all together. And being on the inside now at Laurel is not really the death trap it was back in January, February here. They've done a little bit of work on the track. I know he's got post 2, he breaks close to the rail, but I think he's going to improve just enough here, perhaps to get it done. No More Talk from DB Jojo, Bodie Miller's stable, and Trez Abbott.
All right, let's move on to race number 7. A state-bred allowance, non-winners are one other than. 3/4 of a mile is the trip. Your thoughts on race 7?
Okay. Actually, I think I may have given... No, here it is. It's the right race. Coming back after 6 months off and 4 broken ribs on the left side is Ashley Castrenza today.
Oh, I read it. She was the one, for folks who don't remember, she got off the... probably one of the best starts you can get off as an apprentice. I want to say she was 4 for 4 or 6 for 6. It was just an amazing little run she had. And then, she's been away from the races for a while.
Well, she's got the mount on a first-time claim from the Kieran McGee barn, who's a very consistent gelding, minor legend. So we're going to pick that runner on top today. Maybe Ashley can come back from 6 months away and get right to the winner's circle for a first off the claim, Kieran McGee, always strong angle. I really like this gelding's last race. It was a win here on the mud, the race at which he was claimed, the Charlie Hadry barn. They only had him for a couple of races, but go back and look at that race, and he was just settling nicely in the second flight. And, man, a nice, solid bid from the 3.5 furlong mark to the quarter pole, right into contention, and then opens up by a length and holds sway to win by a neck. He's got a nice middle kick to him, and he chased a real solid speed horse that day that we've seen around here, multiple winner at Laurel, named the Pulse. And I think he can transfer his form from barn to barn, especially given the first-time Kieran McGee angle off the claim, but really rooting for Ashley Castrenza to come up with a strong run today with minor legend. I'm sure she'd like to get right back to the winner's circle after about a half a year away. That spill, by the way, was October 16th at Laurel. That sidelined her, so it would be nice to come back at the track here at Wishy-last race.
Yeah, like I said, it'll be interesting to watch and see what she does because she got off to a really, really strong start, so it's easy to root for a story like that.
Yeah, she's kind of aiming perhaps to race here in Maryland and make an impact this summer at Delaware Park when that meet begins early June.
And I want to say she got off to a good start because I think she was an exercise rider for Tommy Proctor, if I'm not mistaken, and he put her on a couple of live horses really early on. So, again, it was it was an incredible start for an apprentice.
Right. So, and she still has a bug.
Yeah.
So, she's we're excited to see her back today, and easy person to root for, great personality, and we'll see what happens today in the 7th.
Speaking of easy to root for, I alluded to it at the top of the interview here. 7th race on Sunday. It's the return of one of our friends, Ben's Cat, the 11-year-old multimillionaire, an allowance race with a condition looks like maybe written to get Ben back on the track, a field of 7 in a 5.5 furlong sprint. But Ben's Cat returns Sunday afternoon at Laurel.
Yeah, this is a 5.5, 11-year-old season kickoff. It's a $50,000 allowance race. 5.5 on the grass, so that's the second wire of finish. And Hall of Fame trainer King Leatherbury believes he's got him tight enough to make an impact, and just want to see him run well on Sunday afternoon. He's got post position number 1. A few rivals that have beaten him: Triple Burner, Grandiflora. They beat him, but not by far, in the Laurel Dash September of last year. To get the filly in here, Elusive Joni, a real nice filly who likes this grass course. She's 2 or 3 on this grass course from the Gary Capuano barn. Sonny Inspired, who has a series of issues, according to trainer Phil Schoenthal, and they really seem to have him back on track again. He's a horse who's won multiple races over this grass course as well. So not an easy spot for a comebacker like Ben's Cat. He's got the rail, which may not be the best post going 5.5 on the grass, but a super competitive race. We just hope that Ben can make a good run of it at the age of 11. And, King seems to be pretty high on him. He's a series of works, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 works under his belt, including a couple 5/8 works to get him ready. And Trevor McCarthy, he rode him, has been pretty much his regular rider as of recent, and, of course, was the guy that got him home several times in the turf sprint at Pimlico, that rousing win last year on Preakness Day at Pimlico, is back in the saddle for Ben's Cat.
And speaking of Preakness Day and sprinting, did you see Recruiting Ready yesterday down at Oaklawn? Nice win there. Mm-hmm. And they said probably Pimlico next for them because it's a Sagamore runner. It's a Maryland-based runner. But we saw him up here in Saratoga last year, finished behind Gunnevera in the Saratoga Special. But he probably placed himself nicely in that subdivision of 3-year-old sprinters yesterday down at Oaklawn.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was in, and then I read about it, and then I kind of kicked myself and realized that Horatio Karamanos went all the way down to Oaklawn Park to ride him for Sagamore Farm. Horatio doesn't really travel out of town that much, even for a good horse. I mean, he'll do it for Lady Sibylla, horses like that in New York, and they did go to Keeneland last weekend. for trainer Linda Rice. So he's been traveling a lot lately, and I'm glad to see that that trip was successful for recruiting ready. That was a strong, strong win here at Laurel Park. And so, it looks like he's back on track again. A horse that they had a little problem maybe trying to settle early in his career, if you recall. A good degree of early speed, but now he's settling nicely, and he's finishing that last furlong like a true pro.
Yeah, it was a nice race. As I said, he'll be a player now in that subdivision of the 3-year-old sprinters to pay attention to.
And that's my gym buddy, Horatio Caramanos. Although he can run a few more miles than I can on the treadmill.
I hear you.
He puts all of us to shame. I'm exhausted after 20 minutes. He's still going. Yeah.
I played the old man basketball 2 or 3 times a week, and I come home, sit in front of the TV to watch for a couple hours, and by the time I get up to go to bed, it's tough getting out of the chair.
Yeah, no, he works at his craft. He keeps himself in shape. Very strong rider, and so it was great for Sagamore with a couple of nice wins this weekend.
Yeah, and DePaz's first win as a trainer, too. First stakes win as a trainer.
Horatio DePaz, Chubby Star.
First stakes win. Dave, as always, appreciate the visit. Good luck this weekend. We'll talk again next week.
Okay, take it easy.
Dave Rodman from Laurel Park. We'll take a break. When we come back, the big day at Oak Lawn Park. Nancy Holthus will join us right after this, Arkansas Derby, and much more. Stay tuned.
Now get all the racing information you need right on your mobile device with Capital OTB's new mobile app. Wager anytime, anywhere, right from your smartphone or tablet. Watch, wager, and win right at your fingertips. The new Capital OTB mobile app.
Plan right now is to run Always Dreaming only.
Just hours before Always Dreaming won the Florida Derby.
Always Dreaming set down for the drive by John Velasquez.
Seth Merrow talked with Johnny V and Todd Pletcher about this impressive horse.
You don't know how it's going to react with the tougher competition now.
But Always Dreaming, if all's good on race day, he goes.
The 2017 Florida Derby to Todd Pletcher and Always Dreaming.
All the top trainers, all the top jockeys. No one delivers more insight and more information on all the big races than Capital OTB and OTB TV.
Is your favorite track in Kentucky, but you're in upstate New York? At Capital OTB, your favorite tracks are closer than you think. With more than 60 easy bed and branch locations throughout the region, you're just a short drive from Keeneland and Churchill Downs. For a complete list of all easy bed and branch locations, visit capitalotb.com.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB television network.
In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital OTB Player Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, and amazing Vegas-style atmosphere. The Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. Happy to be joined by our friend Nancy Holthus from Oak Lawn Park, our final Oak Lawn visit of the season. But as I said at the top of the show, Nancy will certainly plug you back in when you get back up to Indiana. Good morning, Nancy.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
Happy to have you on board. And I kind of kicked myself because I pulled it up again this morning. But in prep for this, I was looking. We had Jenny Reese on yesterday, so I was looking at her Twitter feed about Oak Lawn. And I pulled up your Twitter feed, and I kind of scrolled down. I should have pulled up the picture, but it maybe will prompt people to go check out your Twitter feed. You had a picture on your feed of you standing next to Steve Asmussen's pony Bandit. And man, those are fashionable boots you're wearing.
Well, it had rained about 3 inches the day before, so yeah, I didn't want to wear my heels, so I was sporting the barn dew. But if anybody gets a chance, go to Oak Lawn's Facebook. I interviewed the pony.
There you go.
And literally got the scoop from the horse's mouth.
Very
Go
good.
check out the interview with Bandit the Pony.
That's the Oaklawn Facebook page?
Yes, the
Nice.
Oaklawn Facebook page. I interviewed Bandit the Pony.
And if they go there, is there a full shot of you so they can get the boots? Because these are not just rain boots. This is a step up. But if they go to their Twitter feed, they can check that out.
My Twitter feed has the pic of me in full rain gear regalia, but the interview is hysterical.
I will definitely check that out. So again, if folks go to the Oaklawn
Got like
page.
4,000 views. It's funny.
You never know what's going to go viral these days.
I know.
All right, let's talk a little Oaklawn. We mentioned yesterday, we had Dave Rodman on just before you. We mentioned Recruiting Ready, a Maryland-based horse won the Bachelor. Yes. What was there a story on Rockshaw? That was that was a dud.
Well, according to the owner, Alex Leblong, he told some connections at a banquet last night that he bled.
Okay.
Now, whether or not that is factual or not, but that is coming from the owner of the horse that he did bleed.
Well, it did seem like, that was too bad. Off the 2 races coming in, that was kind of inexplicable. But a nice performance by the winner, Recruiting Ready.
Yes, it was extremely impressive. And that was actually Horacio De Paz's first stake win as a trainer. So very exciting for him. And, he just came in and whooped up on the field. They went 44-3 for the half. So unbelievable performance. And I really can't wait to see what he does next. And the president of Sagamore did say that they will probably run him next on the Preakness undercard. Yeah,
Understandable given they're Maryland-based. All right, let's take a look, continuing now forward in this racing festival, into this afternoon, a couple of nice stakes, and, of course, tomorrow. First off, give us a little update on the weather. When we talked to Jenny Reese yesterday, she said possibility tomorrow of maybe a little bit of rain.
Well, I'd be surprised. I'm going to say it's probably, if we do get anything, I'm going to say it might be a little bit overcast.
Perfect.
But as far as I know, we're not going to have anything in the forecast. I'm going to say it's probably going to be around 80.
Nice.
And going to be a gorgeous day to be in the infield.
All right, that's what we like to hear. Let's take a look, starting with the stakes today. The Fantasy, the 3-year-old fillies, $400,000, mile and a 16th. Nice full field of 12 in here. But I pulled up the Honeybee for March 11th. We're going to watch number 6, It Tis Well, win. That one wound up last weekend, finishing 3rd in the Santa Anita Oaks behind Paradise Woods and Abel Tasman. And Paradise Woods could be a monster, so It Tis Well ran well. Late, the number 2 will run 3rd. That one not so good in the Ashland last weekend. But in between them, number 11, Benner Island, 22-1. Obviously be shorter this afternoon in the Fantasy. A decent buyer of 85, which compares well with this field. So again, I think the second place finish for Benner Island for Brad Cox could propel this one forward this afternoon. What do you see in the Fantasy?
Well, yeah, she did get the blinkers last time out, which boosted her many, many lengths forward, and does get a jockey change today. Ricardo Santana Jr. getting the leg up, and assigned as 5-2 this afternoon. So really, really boosting forward. Neil Drysdale comes in. He actually won this running all the way back in 82. Kent DeSormo comes in as he has been her only pilot and comes off a decent 3rd to Farrell, who is just turned out to be a monster of a filly in the Grade 2 Fairgrounds Oaks. And she does like this distance, I think, running a decent 3rd last out, which was her stakes debut. So I think Vexatious is going to run a pretty impressive out. And Jerry Hollendorfer comes in as well, as he did saddle It Tis Well in the Honeybee last out. But he brings us another one with Spooky Woods, Flavian Pratt aboard, and ran a well-beaten 3rd in the Grade 3 Santa Isabel to Unique Bella, who was just a monster. So you got to consider ran 3rd to the stablemate.
And again, really kind of fun addition in a division that has become more intriguing with the unfortunate sidelining of Unique Bella, but we'll see how it plays out this afternoon. The older ladies show up in the Apple Blossom, a Grade 1 event, $600,000, 8.5 furlongs. And while we talk here, we're going to take a look at the Zenyatta from last October, because Stellar Wind is going to win just by a neck, but over Beholder. Pretty good performance for Stellar Wind. She makes the seasonal debut in here this afternoon. But the storyline, and I talked a little bit about it yesterday with Jenny Reese, the storyline is Terra Promessa, who just had come into that race last time, the Azeri at Oaklawn, on a real roll and having proven to be a super horse for a course down at Oaklawn, and then had that trouble going into the first turn. And you wondered, will Irad Ortiz get the ride back? The answer is no, but instead it's his brother. So I think there's a fun storyline with Terra Promessa in the race this afternoon. How do you see it amongst the six today?
Well, Jose actually rode her to victory in the Pippin.
Yeah.
So I was kind of surprised when Irad rode her in the Azeri because Jose was here that day. So we were thinking, did the jockeys get mixed up with the draw? What happened? So I am glad to see that Jose is back because, you know, it was a pretty significant steadying on around the 7/8 pole. But I was ecstatic to see Streamline get the victory that particular day. I love these connections, and I'm not going to say don't count Streamline out. I know that she's doing remarkably well. It was a great victory for her that day. She's a super consistent 5-year-old mare, never been off the board here at Oaklawn Park. But as you mentioned, Stellar Wind coming in, she beat Beholder not once but twice. So is coming off the layoff from the Breeders' Cup, but that is basically because of the record amount of rain. California no longer in a drought after 5 years, John Sadler says. They originally were going to point her towards the Santa Margarita, but because of that rain, that was pushed back. He says because the Apple Blossom is such a classic and prestigious race, this was an ideal target for her. So she does have some really good works coming in here, and obviously Victor Espinoza making the journey to be aboard. So obviously don't count her out. She's doing remarkably well. She's eaten up every oat since she's been here, so she is definitely going to be, I think, going off as the favorite.
Yeah, field of 6, but I think very, very intriguing with some of those side storylines as well. All right, tomorrow, a really, really nice stakes card. Let's start out taking a look at the Count Fleet. Yesterday, again, 3-year-old sprinters. Tomorrow, the Count Fleet 3-year-olds and up, $400,000 up for grabs in the Grade 3, going 6 furlongs. And I pulled up the Hot Springs from March 11th. The number 4, Whitmore, is going to get it done as the 4-5 favorite in here. And off of that effort, it just looks like Whitmore is the one you have to hang your hat on tomorrow. There are other directions you can go, but what are your thoughts on the Count Fleet?
Well, as you mentioned, Whitmore, since he did short enough to go one turn, is undefeated. He's a perfect 4 for 4, and he is going to step up to face sprinting graded stakes runners for the first time. But Mo Candy also coming in and is very impressive in his own right, and very impressive graded stakes debut effort last time to run second to St. Joe Bay. He did get off a little step slow, but this morning John Sadler says he wasn't really ready for the break. So he might have had a legitimate excuse that time. But also, Steve Asmussen sends out Holy Boss. He's scored 2 wins in the Count Fleet in 2013, 2014. He does come off a 4th last time in the Hot Springs, but he might have needed an excuse. He did come in a little bit fresh that day, and he did suffer a defeat to Whitmore after setting the early fractions. So I think it's going to come down to Whitmore and Mo Candy.
Yeah, I think that's a good assessment off of that last one from Whitmore. He's going to be interesting to watch. All right, let's take a look at the Lawn Handicap on the card tomorrow. I pulled up a replay of the Santa Anita Handicap, and really you get beyond Arrogate, Gunrunner, and Shaman Ghost, who is going to win this race, and this handicap division becomes a little more up in the air. But this is number 3, Shaman Ghost, winning for Jimmy Jerkins. But running second, Midnight Storm. And Midnight Storm, boy, this is what, the 6th or 7th straight triple-digit buyer. This is a really solid 107 triple-digit, just running second to Shaman Ghost. Todd Pletcher has Made from Lucky in here. Robertino Diodoro has Inside Straight. A fun field, as I say, in a spot in the division where horses are trying to get up to number 4 or number 5 on the list behind that big 3 I mentioned, Arrogate, Gunrunner, and Shaman Ghost. What do you see in the Oaklawn Handicap?
Well, it's interesting because Todd Pletcher, Made from Lucky, already has 3 starts here at Oaklawn. It's not very often that he ships one in that has prior race experience in years before. So, he did come in for the Essex to run 3rd to Domain's Wrap. So he's going to come in and want this horse to perform a little bit better. So Midnight Storm definitely does look like the one to beat. He looks like the speed in the field. Made from Lucky is going to track off of him, but it obviously does look like Midnight Storm is going to come in and score this thing gate to wire. And Mike Smith, he does come in for the mount and did win on him back in November at Del Mar in the Grade 3 Native Diver. So I like that he does have the experience on Midnight Storm. And Phil D'Amato makes his first Oaklawn starter, and it looks like it's going to be a winning one.
Yeah, it's, again, a fun edition of the Lawn Handicap in a division that's turning out to be very, very intriguing this year. And speaking of intriguing divisions, I've said it for about a week and a half now. Things are ill-defined in the 3-year-old division, and we'll see if things can get a little clearer tomorrow with the Arkansas Derby. I think the only way that could happen is a big performance from Classic Empire. Otherwise, I think things are still kind of take your pick come the Kentucky Derby in a few weeks. But obviously, we're going to try to see what Classic Empire can do. I said it, last week that you had the same situation with McCracken, but I think there are bigger question marks with Classic Empire because he wasn't just a physical ding. He had some mental issues where he wouldn't train. So really interested to see what he can do. Last couple of days we've watched replays of the Rebel because obviously this race plays out of that with Malagasy, Sonneteer coming in untrapped, Petrov from 1, 2, 3, 4 finishes in the Rebel. But just to pull up something different for folks to look at while we talk, I pulled up the Sunland Derby. Hence is going to be the winner, the number 9 horse. But number 12, Conquest Mo Money, runs second in here. That was the first second place finish in a career of 4 starts with 3 wins. So as I say, Conquest Mo Money may be a little bit intriguing. I don't know whether I jump on board, but at some odds, maybe you can play around with that horse. But what do you think in the Arkansas Derby tomorrow?
Well, all of the horses that you mentioned, I did see train this morning, and they looked really good, specifically Malagasy. I love the way he trains over this surface. And the fact that he went 2 turns for the first time in his stakes debut in the Rebel and won it like he did, I really was impressed. Especially Sonneteer. He looked wonderful this morning as well, but there always is that bounce factor. But the fact that he's earned just shy of $250,000 as a maiden, I'm not gonna knock anybody for doing that. But there's one horse that you didn't mention that I'm going to go to the window on, and that is Untrapped. Okay. I loved this horse going into the Rebel. He ran a really good third. He had a nice little trip getting up on the rail, and I love the fact that he gets Mike Smith in the iron come Saturday, and he's also going to get the addition of blinkers. So I really like the way that this horse has been training forwardly, and I love the added distance for the son of Trapshot.
Yeah, the Mike Smith angle kind of intrigues me as well. I think it's a fun addition, as I say, in a division that's just kind of waiting for us to have somebody to hang our hat on, and I don't know whether we'll get it tomorrow. But what does that mean? In a few weeks, great odds for everybody.
Yeah, and it's interesting because now there's not just one maiden with Sonneteer. There's 2, as Jack Van Berg sends out One Dreamy Dude, as it's also the 30th anniversary of Ali Sheba. So if Papa Jack can get it done, there will not be a dry eye in the house, including myself.
Yeah, it's and he's had a nice little meet. And I pulled up some stats. The jockey side, the breakup with Steve Asmussen didn't hurt Ricardo Santana. He's on board, although it's close, but he's sitting up there on top. So it's been a nice meet all around down there at Oaklawn this season.
Yes, it has. And, it's been kind of rough for Jack, with the passing of Liza last summer, and, he's been going through radiation treatment. So we've all just been, we're all Team Van Berg.
Yeah, and he's sitting at 19% according to the Daily Racing Form stats. So a nice meet for him on that side of things. And again, these kind of guys, these kind of icons of the sport, they're easy to root for, and he has that one in there tomorrow. Nancy, as always, we appreciate the visit. And we appreciated talking to you and Jeff Taylor during the meet. I've said it all during the meet. I love Oaklawn. I like this time of year, so I hate to see it go, but it's going to go out with a bang. And certainly we'll have you plugged back in sooner rather than later, probably with the return to Indiana.
You got it. Thanks so much, and good luck.
Thank you. Nancy Holthus from Oaklawn Park. Again, nice day today with the Fantasy and the Apple Blossom. Nice day tomorrow, highlighted by the Arkansas Derby as their meet wraps up. A little bit earlier, Dave Rodman. Don't forget Sunday, the return of Ben's Cat. We talked to Andrew Dembski, got a little Tampa Bay action. Top of the show, I gave you an update on what else to look for. Maker's Mile at Keeneland today. Nice stakes card down there tomorrow. Really nice action all around over the next couple of days. And don't forget, we are closed here on Easter. New York state law, no horse racing in New York on Easter, so keep that in mind. But there'll be great programming here on the network tomorrow with the Handicapper Support at 9 and Mark Cassano with Down the Stretch at 10 o'clock. Let me hit promos of note. Bounty Bet this afternoon. Definitely want to remind you of that. $1,800 plus in the kitty today. Jump on board at capitalotb.com for more information on how you can play with a late pick 4 at Aqueduct this afternoon and perhaps pick up that bounty of $1,822. Tomorrow, Fan Appreciation Day at Big G's in Whitehall. If you're a patron there, stop by and give us our chance to say thank you to you. Saturday also, there's a $100 online knockout challenge sponsored by our friends at Woodbine. It's their opening day tomorrow at Woodbine, so that'll be a lot of fun. Next Wednesday, there's an online pick 4 promotion with Brian Nadeau, and plenty more coming up that we will alert you to as we get into next week and beyond. We have Kentucky Derby seminar coming up in a couple of weeks and whatnot. It's that time of year. Plenty of racing action. All the divisions are heating up, and we are rolling into the Triple Crown. And then after that, you start thinking Del Mar and Saratoga. So again, it is that time of year. All right, I'm going to wrap things up for this edition of Racing Across America. We are here every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 10 until 11 a.m. Again, the great programming continues tomorrow as well at 9 o'clock with the Handicapper Support, 10 with Down the Stretch and Mark Cassano. Enjoy the races this afternoon. Let's all cash a few tickets. I'll see you back here again, not back on Sunday, so we'll be back in here Racing Across America next Wednesday morning.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.